In one of its most intense military operations in the region, the United States has carried out a major airstrike campaign against the Houthi rebel group in Yemen. The offensive, launched in coordination with several intelligence partners, marks a significant escalation in tensions in the Middle East and has led to hundreds of casualties and substantial infrastructure damage. A night of explosions. The strikes began in the early hours of the morning on key Houthi-controlled sites in Yemen's capital, Sana'a, as well as in the cities of Saada and Hodeidah. Residents reported hearing continuous explosions for nearly an hour. Witnesses described scenes of panic as people fled their homes, fearing further bombardment. The Pentagon confirmed the operation involved a mix of fighter jets and long-range precision missiles targeting military warehouses, drone launch facilities, and communication hubs used by the Houthi rebels. Strategic. The main objective of the strikes, according to U.S. defense officials, was to degrade the Houthis' ability to carry out attacks on commercial shipping lanes in the Red Sea, a vital global trade route. Over the past several months, the Houthis have targeted foreign cargo ships, claiming retaliation for what they see as Western support for opposing forces in Yemen. The operation was necessary to protect international maritime commerce and to uphold international law, said Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin in a press briefing. We took all possible measures to avoid civilian casualties and to focus exclusively on military targets, casualties and damage. Local authorities aligned with the Houthis reported that at least 170 people were killed or injured in the strikes, although exact numbers remain difficult to verify due to limited access to some of the affected areas. The bombing destroyed multiple government buildings and communication towers, severely disrupting civilian infrastructure in key urban areas. Hospitals in Sana'a have reportedly been overwhelmed with casualties, many of them civilians, despite U.S. assurances that only military sites were targeted. Humanitarian agencies are calling for immediate access to the regions hit to assess the damage and provide relief. Global reactions. The strikes have sparked a wave of reactions across the globe. Iran, a known supporter of the Houthi movement, condemned the U.S. actions as an illegal act of aggression and vowed to increase its support to the group. Russia also criticized the airstrikes, stating they could further destabilize an already volatile region. On the other hand, U.S. allies like the United Kingdom, France, and Saudi Arabia expressed support, emphasizing the need to secure maritime routes and curb rebel activities. The United Nations has called for restraint and urged both sides to return to diplomatic dialogue. The escalation of violence threatens to undo years of fragile peace efforts in Yemen, said UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. Domestic implications in the U.S. Back home, the Biden administration is facing growing scrutiny from lawmakers. On both sides of the aisle, some Republican figures applauded the show of strength, while progressive Democrats raised concerns over the humanitarian consequences and the potential for the U.S. to be drawn deeper into the conflict. The American people have a right to understand why we are involved in another foreign war, said Representative Ilhan Omar. We must consider the long-term consequences of such military interventions. The White House maintains that the airstrikes are part of a limited and strategic campaign, aimed solely at protecting global trade and reducing violence in the Red Sea region, a turning point in the conflict. This operation may represent a turning point in the long-standing conflict in Yemen, which has dragged on for nearly a decade. While previous U.S. actions in the region were primarily focused on counterterrorism, this shift toward targeting Houthi infrastructure suggests a broader strategic shift. Military analysts believe that unless followed by a political solution, the strikes may trigger retaliatory attacks not just in Yemen, but potentially against U.S. interests in the Gulf region. The Houthis have already responded with a vow to retaliate. This aggression will not go unanswered, a spokesperson said in a televised statement. We will continue to defend our sovereignty and resist foreign occupation. Conclusion. As the dust settles in Yemen, the true impact of the U.S. airstrikes remains to be seen. What is certain is that the operation marks a new chapter in U.S. involvement in the Middle East, one that brings renewed risks, heightened global tensions, and deepened political debate at home. The coming weeks will be critical in determining whether this strategy leads to stabilization or further chaos in an already war-torn region.